What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to CM Aviation. Hope you're on a fantastic day today. And today we're going to be taking a look at the NG Models November 2025 releases. I hope all of you are excited for today's video. This looks like a pretty tough release for anybody that's not in the Asia region in regards to popular aircraft. There doesn't look to be too many here, so there probably won't be too much elaboration for this particular release. But regardless, as always, we are here to cover it. And I also do want to say at some point here in the near future, I do intend to make a live stream of all the other manufacturers I've missed since March. So JC Wings Phoenix, it will be a long live stream. So at some point we will be taking that on, so stay tuned. But anyway, in the meantime, let's not waste any additional time and go ahead and get started with the release. So our first two aircraft are two Air China Airbus A319 Neos. The first one is over here on your right, and the second one is over on the left. So the first one's Bravo 32 Delta Lima. It's the first Neo for Air China, and the left one is also there, Bravo 32 Mike 1. Really neat in regards to the A319 Neo, since there's not many of those at all. So that one's actually kind of cool, I think, and I would be interested in getting a CRP redemption of this at some point. So really cool. The Shotcuts are also nice, so it is nice to see that, and there is actually some meaningful purpose to that, I would argue, so that's pretty good. And we'll just do 4 at a time considering what this release is. So the next two are two Hainan Airlines A321 Neos. The first one is the first one that they had delivered, and then just a normal one. So Bravo 32 Lima Yankee and Bravo 32 Mike Tango. No significant differences with these two. They are pretty identical, and I think they have done a Hainan A321 at some point. So not too surprised here, but nevertheless, you know, I'm hoping the best for more diversity at some point in the future, but they're not terrible, you know, at least it's not another China Eastern China Eastern 777. They've done several of those. So yeah, not terrible, just kind of, you know, in between, kind of what it is type deal. The Radia A321 Neo is actually really good. This is a prototype for the XLR, which is great. Foxtrot Whiskey Bravo Zulu. So that's actually really good. Glad to see that. And there is actually some pretty good meaning with that. Along with the Wizz Air Airbus A321 Neo, it's the Malta. And this is going to be 9 Hotel Whiskey November Mike, fly the greenest livery. So that is actually a cool one. I think the European collectors will certainly be fired up and very excited about that. So there is a little bit of diversity here with these two Neos. So this is definitely a start, and this Radia is actually going to be at the Paris Air Show this November, which is fantastic. So this is definitely going to be the peak of their release. That and the A319 Neos. The rest of it's probably going to be kind of what it is. Though this is not a bad China Eastern Toy Story livery, A330 300. We have 2 of them, the Ultimate and the Normal. So definitely cool to see that. That's real nice. I do like that livery, and you know, there is some substantial meaning to that. So definitely a little bit more in regards to the, you know, definition of what's going on there, and I can get behind it a little bit more. So actually seeing these, it isn't quite as bad as what I initially anticipated. I mean, still no US releases, so that's a little bit unfortunate. It's a smaller release, which is okay, but yeah, definitely, you know, could have been worse, but certainly not too, you know, surprised by any means. And then the Air China A330 300 Starlines gets done this time. They did the 200 previously, so yeah, same story. At least they waited some time between the 200 and the 300 variants, so not bad. Not too much to discuss with these, but once again, a good option, and I'm sure that I might get one of these at the CRP at some point. I mean, these are nice aircraft. I mean, obviously for most of you US collectors, obviously there's only so much that we can do with these, but obviously since I have a few model airports it could be appropriate for to get one of these, it would make a little bit more sense. But generally speaking, for the US, it's not, you know, very much going on here, but there are a few going on. Now, we have got this before, I know that, the Shannon Airlines Airbus 350-900, and this is Bravo 32 Mike Victor revised winglets. And then we have a normal one, Bravo 304 uniform, and then we have a copy, which I'm not even sure what's going on there. I don't know if that's a duplicate or not. It looks identical. Okay, one's a different product number actually, so I don't know. I'm assuming it's literally the exact same, which is really weird. There's no differences at all. So I know they've done that one before. It is what it is. There's not much to add on to it besides that it's just what it is. I hope that it can, you know, we can get some more interesting aircraft, to put it simply, at some point, but it kind of just is what it is. Now, this Ultimate is pretty cool with the carbon fiber on the Starlux Airbus 350-1000. This is Bravo 5855. I do really like the scheme of it, but they've done so many Starlux at this point. It's just like kind of what are we doing? But, you know, it's not too bad. So we can live with it. It's kind of just one of those planes, though. So I think everybody's kind of there at this point. And then we get another one that is nearly identical. Just seeing if there's any differences. Oh, I guess one's not an ultimate, so that's the difference there. So cool to see that. So a little bit more to the story on that. And then our last aircraft is 3 China Postal Airlines, which is at least somewhat unique. 737-800 BCFs. The first one has blended winglets, Bravo 5160. The second one has no winglets, and it's 222T Tango. And then the third one appears to be no different than the first one. I don't see any major differences that catch my eye immediately. They look nearly identical. The registration is Bravo 5306. I think 2 of those would have been pretty sufficient. So double winglets doesn't add up too much, but as one would expect, it's kind of one of those that it really truly is what it is. There's really not too much more to elaborate on besides that with what is going on with these. Not flashy by any means. It is better than I anticipated, which is encouraging at the very least. I thought it was going to be even worse than this, but this honestly is a little bit better. And at least on my level, you know, I know that most of you here watching are US collectors, so obviously I lean towards that perspective of this. But generally speaking, if you have any interest in Asia, in definitely the wide bodies, there are at least a few aircraft here that could be of interest, like the Star Alliance, the Starlux, and the China Eastern. The narrow bodies are cool. The Neo definitely has significance there on the 319, and then the Radia and Wiz also can be appropriate. And it's nice to see the Middle East and Europe at least get a little bit of representation here. So that's somewhat encouraging. But the rest of it, not too much, just your typical Asia releases. It is a really small one, so I'm kind of surprised considering, you know, obviously holiday season and whatnot being, you know, right here. So definitely a little bit disappointing for sure. I don't think that you can't not see this as disappointing, though the last release was definitely a huge step in the right direction for NG. So I think we also have to be considerate of what's going on with that. Is it the grandest release ever? Absolutely not even close. It will never be a record breaker, and you know, it's closer to one of the bottom releases, though. If you really look for encouraging aspects of it, there are a few of them. So better than I expected at the very least. So that's a start, though I was being pretty optimistic. We will see what's ahead for NG. We know that February and March is going to be quiet, so we can hope for the best that they're able to get maybe some of these future releases that we really wanted out. And obviously, as you all could tell, I was looking at the Aviation Retail Direct website for those because they're not out on the website of NG yet. So a shout out to Aviation Retail Direct for what they do, and it was very helpful for that. If I get the internet to load here, we are going to take a look pretty promptly here and see what the remaining future releases are here on the website. And I apologize, it's thunderstorming outside, so that's probably the reason why this is a little slower. But yeah, that October release turned out real good, so that was what is there, and it was pretty substantial. And obviously we had the September releases as well with some decent ones. So here's currently what stands up to the future, including the Swiss A350, which is awesome. Got Delta Team USA A350 and the normal livery A350s, and a good variety of aircraft down here. Definitely some popular ones. So hopefully many of these will get done, and even Arizona 1 and 1 the 200 for Southwest is cool. And they caught our special livery 333 also as well, and a couple others that we've discussed previously. So hopefully it will continue to improve. Let me know what you all think in the comments below. I'm definitely interested and eager to see what happens next. I'm eager to hear what you all think, so feel free to share. But with that being said, that'll do it for today's video. Everybody, thank you all so much for watching. Take it easy, everybody. Stay safe. That's the process. Love you do. My name's CM Aviation. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon as CM Aviation is signing off.